ba 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 ba. This is our official blues lesson, and I'm going to teach it in the key of A dominant blues, and I'll talk a little bit about how that refers to the scale we're going to use as well, which works in C major blues and also in A minor blues. But before we get started with all the theory stuff, and don't worry, music theory is just a theory. It's never been proven, so you don't have to worry too hard about it. And I'll show you some really easy ins and outs of how to play the blues. So take the A7 chord, the real easy one right here, and we're going to go to the handout that doesn't have all the notes on it. It's just basically the chords. And we're going to play this top line for 4 beats. Then we're going to go to the D7 for 4 beats, and then back to the A7. And that's 2 measures worth. The second line starts on the D7. D7, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes back to the A7. Now, last line in the 12-bar Chicago blues starts with an E7. We call that the 5 chord. Then to the 4 chord, the D7, back to the A7, and then hit the E7. And then the whole show starts again at the very top. It's only 12 bars. Kind of resets itself each time, which is delightful, because if something bad happened, you can forget about it and go on to the next one, or you can build on something you've done before. So let's take this, and for those of you who have played a little more, I'm going to start adding some fun. A lot of times I love to take just that A7th. Same thing with the D7. I'm going to start a fret lower and slide up. And also notice I'm kind of doing a little bit of a stop strum here. And that's just a thumb stop. And you can let it ring. This is all thumb for now. D7, sliding up, and then back to the A7. When you feel like you can add that little dip. Same thing with the E7. I'm going to start, like here's an E7. If I pulled it backwards, zoop, then this would come off. So now we have 3 things we can do. We can play open, we can slide, and we can also stop the tone. So all of a sudden we have a little bit of language to work with here. Just playing the chords by themselves. Here's the D7 and back to the A7. Maybe I'll do a little dip here. And I won't do it on the next one just for fun. Leave it open, and right there. Last line, E7. And then the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, triple it, triple. A lot of times they'll turn it around back to the beginning. Just kind of pick your notes. Now here's the last line. E7 to the D7 to the A. And a lot of times you'll hear people refer to this as the 1 chord, the 4 chord, to the 1. What does that actually mean? If I'm in the key of A, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a D. So here, you just play up the major scale. Let me let somebody in here. Play up the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's D, A, B, C sharp. And then to the 5, which is E. So pretty easy. You just let yourself count 1, 4, 5. And so if you're in the key of C, that would be C, D, E, F, and G, G7. But in the blues, all the chords are 7th chords. So what does that actually mean? It's kind of crazy. A 7th chord, or a dominant chord as they call it, has the flat 7th in it. Has that note. Or in this case, it's also in the low G there. So when we play an A7th, we get that sound instead of... Those chords are always pulling somewhere. And in normal keys, they're usually the 5 of the key. And so they're just pulling somewhere. A is the 5, as it turns out, of D. So we're actually pulling towards the D, but instead of playing a normal D, we're playing a D7, which has its own tasty tang. And we leave it there, and then when we play the 5 chord of that key, it's also a dominant, but it's pulling back to A. So E is the 5 of A. The blues is funny that way. When we play minor and major blues, it doesn't have quite the same thing. And we are actually changing keys 3 times each time we run through that. But the cool thing is we have the pentatonic scale, which is an easy way to get around and use our ears and leave out some of the notes that would normally sound awful if we used just a major scale or a minor scale. So let's play through the progression one more time, and then I'll show you the little lick that I'm going to do. And a 1, 2, 3, and the D7, back to the A7, then to the D7, oh yeah, second line, this is the 4 chord, then back to the A7, 2, 3, 4, again. Now last line starts on the 5, D7, down to the D7, then to the A7, 2, 3, 4, E7. So that's one time through 12-bar Chicago blues. A lot of times you can call the song in and say, from the 5, and people, what does that mean? That means we start at the last line, because we're starting on the E7th chord, which is the 5 of the A key. So, from the 5, everybody, let's play through this once. Use your guys there. You can stop the sound, and you can let it ring. You can, and sometimes I'll even take that E7 and I'll go backwards that way to the D7. That's kind of a cool sound. Back around there. So let's start this one from the 5, and now we're going to start adding a vocal to this. It's kind of funny how it works. This is kind of like the Stevie Ray Vaughan school of learning how to just put a vocal on the blues and then play a little lick afterwards. It's really, really helpful to get in and start making music early, even if you're just a beginner. So check this out. We're going to go from the 5, 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5. D7, and then to the A7, and E7. Here's where the lyric goes. And then you say something else right here, and there's a lick. Second line, we go right to the D, and we say exactly the same thing. Here's where the lyric goes. And you say something else right here. Then the lick, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's where you have to figure out a rhyme. rhyme with the beginning part, even if it didn't. And then the 5, and then it goes back at the beginning. Woke up this morning, thought I'd play some ukulele. 2. Now the lick, boom, 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 which we'll look at. Now woke up this morning, same lyric exactly. Thought I'd play some ukulele. Now I have to try to rhyme with ukulele at the end, and I might not be able to come up with some. Well, here's the part where you rhyme, and I'm just going to use the word crazy. So there you go. You got a blues. All you have to do is come up with a lyric. Oop, there's one more person coming here, and then some chords, and I'll show you some extra kind of fancy stuff. If you've played some blues before, I'll show you how to get around in the chords themselves and also the scale. But everyone take a look at that pentatonic scale now on your sheet, or you can just look right here. Take your first string, and we're going to go 3rd fret, open, 3rd fret, open, 2nd fret, open, and then you can land on this one. I've got a low G. If you got a high G, it's gonna bum 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 bum. It'll go back up an octave there, which is no problem. But basically, and then there's an extra blues note in there on that scale, which you can come down. Everyone, take a look at that, and you can also play it backwards. And that's basically just a little map of notes that will sound really good over blues. It's kind of amazing how it works, but check this out. I'm just going to play this. Everyone try that with me. We're going to go 3, open, 3, open, 3, 2, open, then play an A 7th chord. Everyone see how that scale block works there? It's not actually tab, it's actually a picture of the fretboard. And I'm going to hit 3, open, 3, open, 3, that's the blues note, 2, open, 2, or 2 on your other one. Or you can also play it backwards, go up. And it's just a map for having fun. If you hit just those notes and you play a blues, you're not going to play a wrong note. Some are more exciting than others, but you can start out by going just. See how that sounds? Do the same thing, but land on a D chord. Has a whole different feel to it. Now back to the A. Now let's land on the E7th this time. We're going to go. So here's just a little sample of something you can do. Woke up this. Here's Stephanie. So here's a cool little example. I'll just play through a blues and play along with me if you like. I'm going to sing something silly right where the lyrics are, and then I'm going to play that lick at the end of the first line, right where it says lick here. Hi, Stephanie. Okay, so here we go. From the 5, 2, 3, and a 4, and a. Woke up this morning. Thought I'd play the pentatonic scale. Here it comes. Oh, woke up this morning. Same lyric. Thought I'd play the pentatonic scale. Stop, stop. Here's the lick. Well, it turns out I ran out of a way to rhyme it. Sometimes it's funnier when you can't rhyme at the end. Okay, here's where you sing. There's the 4 chord and Then there's a lick. Now the D chord goes right here. Ba, boom, ba. You can sing anything you want here. And the Stevie Ray style right at the end. And the 5 chord goes down to the 4 chord. Back to the A7. And then I play the lick in place of the 5. Okay. Cool, huh? It's like suddenly you have 5 or 6 different tools and you can actually play a blues. You can make up your own lyrics, or you can learn a blues that's already there and kind of throw it into the key of A here. Let's sidetrack for just a second and talk about chording. So we're kind of in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. There's other styles of blues, but this is kind of the one that's the most familiar to folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. There's a triplet pattern. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now the 5 chord. Now, if you know other chords besides just the ones that are on the page there, any A7 will do. So check out what happens when I'm going to chord this guy, and then I'm going to make this one. That's just like a G7 that's been moved up, and I put my first finger down here. There's also the F7 shape, and if you squeeze it up to there. Now you don't have to know these right away, but check out what happens when you just play a couple extra chords. The D7, got that one. All those cool jazz chords. And here's E. So I'm going to play a quick little background. 2, 3, 4. D7. Just back and forth between another chord. Here's the E7. So you got the little licks where you can hammer on that we worked on. You got ones where you can slide it in, and you've got any other A7 that you might know, or any other D7, including just these two, just going back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are super cool ways that you can enhance your vocabulary, if you will, with the blues. But keeping it really simple is never a problem, which I love about the blues. You can add as much as you want on top, or you can keep it super simple and then even save the really tasty stuff for way later, so people have no idea that you've got those licks stored up until the very end of the song, you know? You can be like... So all that cool stuff comes right from the scale, from the little tiny chord progression that we got. That's just 3 chords, and then just adding extra vocabulary, or if you will, frosting on different parts of the song. So let's switch gears and learn the melody for the smartphone blues. Now with the smartphone blues, where did my phone go? Here it is. That's kind of what the actual lesson was called, but I just trick you guys into coming and teach you as much blues as I can. But this is one of my favorite things to do. If you just use your voice memos on your phone, and I'm just going to put it in record, count myself in, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna edge that up here. Count myself in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've just figured a way to practice with myself, right? Pretty cool. So you lay down a track, you kind of get to hear yourself play the rhythm part that way, and you can do it, you know, as many times as you want. Sometimes I put down a track for jazz songs that are 5 minutes long. They go over and over and over and over, so I can really work on soloing on top of it and everything. But that melody I just played is the Smartphone Blues Melody from my Melodic Meditations book. Let's take a look at it for a second. Pull that chart up if you got it. And it uses almost exclusively just that now we're going to slide up here to the 4th fret. Everyone try that. You're going to slide from the 2nd fret on the 3rd string and slide back down. That's kind of a cool lick. And then we're going to hit that little thing that we did. We're going to come and then up to the open string, and then back to the G. So bottom A, G sharp on the 2nd string. So it's going to be open 1, open 4, 3. Let's try that super slow here. I'm going to look at the chat here. It looks like there's a couple of things here. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Bum, 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 bum. That's the first part. It's just 3, open 3, open 3, open 2, open. And that's the pentatonic scale that we just learned. Now, once we learn that, you've learned 2/3 of the song right there. And I do bend this guy a little bit at the top if you're interested in bending. This is one time I allow my thumb to go over the top of the neck and bend a little bit. And what you do is you just hold that string and then you push up. I use 3 fingers at once sometimes when I'm bending. Let's do that again. And then it starts on the D chord. Nice, so that happens twice. Then the very last lick is over the E7th chord. So I'm going to cheat on that pentatonic a little bit and add this B note, which is inside the E7th chord. It's going to be 2, 2, open 2, and slide a little bit to the 4th fret, 2nd string, and then we're going to bend a little. Now we're going to go 3, 4, and this classic lick. So it's going to be on the 2nd string, 5, open on the 1st, 3, open 2, 1, open. And you can do a couple things with that. You can do it separately like this, or you can do it together. You heard that before in a lot of blues. So here's the whole thing. And I know I might be going a little quick for some folks But you're going to have the recording afterwards, recording the whole thing, so you'll be able to go back and check out each part of these licks. Nice and slow, it goes. That's over the D chord, same thing. Now here we go to the B. Nice. So I'll start this again and play it so you can hear the melody with the chords in the back. Let's see here. Count myself in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. So, loads of fun. Back in the day when we had cassette tape recorders, when I was in junior high school, I would do that all day long and just record myself playing some chords and then figure out a lick. And then once I hit high school, I had a friend who played guitar, and we'd just play chords for each other and flip back and forth and mess around and take solos and sing stuff. And if you got a friend that you can jam with, that's really cool. But the smartphone thing is a very cool, worked out pretty nicely during COVID, I tell you, to work on that stuff. Are there any questions at this point? I've been kind of just yakking. And why don't we open this up a little bit just to have some questions. They can be anything, beginning to advanced to whatever. I'm happy to entertain anything here. Push the space bar and say something if you like, or I can just keep talking. Looks like we're good. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's review a little bit. So is everyone okay with the amount that I spent on that melody? Is that... Because I think I'll just go back to the basic blues and keep working that angle from here. That's just one blues melody you can use. And so when you start improvising and you use this scale, that's basically a pentatonic scale, which means it only has 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're back to the same note. Bum, 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 bum. And then what the blues players have done is added this extra note. Has sort of a cool, has a really cool sound to it. Now that note also can be bent up, so you got... And if you mess around long enough, now I'll play it backwards. The great thing about the blues is you can say something very musical and be really, really simple at the same time. Check this out. I'm going to play a solo using one note. So 2 notes. Here's that. Just stole that from the earlier melody. So you can start building, as I call them, just little phrases and vocabulary where you can say something in a blues jam with somebody, and you don't have to be fancy. I mean, there's all those folks who, you know, that's all fine and dandy, but sometimes it's not even as dramatic as going. It's like a B.B. King kind of thing. Just play one note and make it count, right? And I'm actually just playing the A there, but on the second string, so I can shake it, make sort of a blues thing. Believe it or not, B.B. King never played chords. He started on a one-string instrument back in the woods, and he sang and only played single note solos. He never played chords. He never even learned half the chords. Crazy, right? But the blues is a very expressive way to be able to make music quickly, and if you're a beginner, you can make just as big of a statement as someone who's been playing for 20 years. You really can, you know, because like when it shifts to that 4 chord and you play the same thing, you go. Here's that 4. Cool. So use anything that's at your fingertips, and I would suggest listening to a lot of blues, like going on YouTube or whatever and seeing some of the older characters. They do a really, really good job. Just do a deep dive into some of the early blues players from the South and the Delta and stuff, and do a lot of listening, because it'll change the way you play. And if you just got a couple chords, that's all you need. Speaking of chords, let's learn a quick little. So if you put an A chord on here, just a straight A chord, and now I'm going to teach you a little bit of that back and forth Sesame Street style blues, I call it. You know, got that Sesame Street lick there, except we're going to do it this way. And what we're going to do is hold down an A chord, and with your ring and your pinky, you're going to go on the second string, open, 2, 3, 2, oh. Now do the same thing, put a D chord down, but use your first 2 fingers this time. And use your ring and pinky. Same frets, but on the first string. Back to A. Now on the E, we can't really do this lick so much, but sometimes I'll add my pinky on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, and it'll give me a Jimi Hendrix style. That's a E7 sharp 9 chord. That's the Purple Haze chord for anybody who wants. And then, so it gives us a little path, and I'll play it right here nice and slow so you can check it out in the recording, but it's basically just open, 3, 2, 3, open with an A, then on the D, open, 3, 2, 3, open, and then when you get to the E, sometimes I'll just add that little pinky there. And here's how it sounds. I'll play it all the way through. First line, A. E7. that's like a huge plethora of stuff you can do. You've got this little lick. You can change to a different inversion of any chord. You can toggle on. You can slide. You can go stop the sound, or you can make it open. Sometimes I'll even use a picky kind of thing, and then use a dampening on the bridge here. So I'll play through just a couple more things here before we wrap up, and here it is from the 5. And I'll just throw a bunch of those tricks in. So I'm combining all the stuff. So that's pretty much the deal. You can explore all you want to. The pentatonic scale itself, this is where I saved the theory for last, because we're in the key of technically D here when we're playing an A7, and then when I play the D7 we're in the key of G almost. And then when I play the E7th, I'm in the key of A all of a sudden. But we don't have to think about any of that, because this keeps us away from all the scary notes. Now you can add those extra notes, like check it out. If you got, here we are. Mixolydian scales, all that stuff. But the blues is all about the ear, so don't even worry about that stuff until you get started later on some other scales. But I do want you to understand that this is a pentatonic scale in A, so this is the A minor pentatonic as they call it, and we use that to bend it around the notes for A dominant blues. Now if we were to play a country style blues, like in a major key, I'm going to use the A minor pentatonic. And what is the relative major of A minor for anyone who actually knows? All the white keys on the piano. It's going to be C. So here's an A minor chord, here's a C chord. It's almost the same notes exactly. Look at what happens. So let me play like a B.B. King style blues. This is just for your ears. Don't worry about. So that's A minor, D minor, and E7. It's the same grouping of chords, but these are actually all in the key of A minor. That's the same scale we just played, and it sounds totally different then. Wow, right? Totally wild. Here's the A minor. Maybe a Robert Cray kind of thing. Here's the E7. Now here's the same thing back to what we just did. here's the crazy thing. This bent my mind out of shape when I was in college. Somebody showed me, this is A minor pentatonic. It's also all the white keys of a C major pentatonic. And the blues note in that key. So that country, that's the same exact notes as the one in the other scale. That's crazy, right? So a 1, 4, 5, C, F, and G7, and that, you know, kind of Texas Playboy style. Roly poly, da bum 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 bum. And then there we go back. Wow, that just kills me. It's so cool. So that tiny pentatonic scale that I showed you in C and A obviously works in every key. So all you have to do is find the major and the relative minor of each of those, and you can play blues in any key that you like and move that up the scale. This little 3 open will be like if I did it up here. Here's the 5th fret, and I'm going to go 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. Just use some different fingerings. And it turns out that right there, that's going to put us in D. So if you're playing D blues, that's the one you're going to use, is the one way up starting on the 5th fret. That's exactly the same scale we played here. You know, if I put my pinky here and then put my other finger behind, it would look just like this. Dum, bum, 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 bum. So, D blues. And if we use the country version of that, your pinky is the one that's on the major scale. So this is going to be F. And that will work right there. So if you're looking to play in different keys, that's a window in how to do it. But I highly suggest messing around with the A7 blues as long as you can and get your ears wrapped around it before you start moving anywhere else, okay? So that is all the information I have for you today. Let me put us back onto, let me unpin myself. How does this work? Gallery. There we go. Okay, there's everybody. So I hope you all had a good time. That was a lot of info in a short amount of time. And Stephanie will be able to give you a recording of this entire thing after the fact. And thank you so much for coming. What a blast to do a little blues on Saturday, huh?
Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry I had my camera off. I'm in the middle of feeding one of my little ones. But we have some other UKC Academy classes coming up later this month into the summer. If you are Broadway fans, our UKC Broadway Cabaret is going to be May 8th live in New York City. If you're not in the New York area, then you can do a live stream as well on ukc.org/Broadway. So make sure you follow on social media to see all of the events happening. I also put Daniel's website in the chat. He has some awesome resources on there, as well as his books. His UKC or his ukulele meditations is one of my favorites to play for myself, as well as for my patients that I work with at the hospital. So make sure you guys check that out as well. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. I emailed all of you guys this morning, but I'll drop my email again. It's just stephanie@theukc.org. And I'll be sending out the recording to everybody as well. La 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 la.